You wonder that some of these movies that were released in the 60s and 70s, did they really terrify the audience? Or was it all a scam? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Do you think it scared the audience in the 70s? Let's find out. Actually, you are not going to find out because I can't go back to the 70s. Anyway, Chase Lee Hockey here with a Blue Futon reviewing the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And what's this movie about? Pretty simple premise. You have, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teenagers that are going to see a random house in Texas, but they want to get gas, and they find a house that has murderous family. That's the synopsis. Pretty damn simple. So, did I like this film? It's an interesting film. I'm not saying I love it, because even though I understand what Toby Hopper was trying to do, the last 15 minutes kind of gives me a headache, and it's the second time I've watched the film, just because, yes, I understand the chaos he wants to ensue, the chaotic nature, the just fast-paced editing. I completely understand it, but it's the yelling, the constant yelling, because yes, I understand the fear that she is trying to portray, and she does it well. And then the family members are also just chaotic motherfuckers, which you could tell Resident Evil 7 totally took inspiration from this film. And yes, that bantering back and forth, you do feel like the antsiness. You do feel the griminess. You do feel like you're in this room and you want to get the fuck out, and you want to get the fuck out now. And at the point, you're just thinking too, like, is it better to die? Because it is that chaotic. And there are some comedic moments, especially with the grandpa trying to smash a head. I know that sounds like, how is that comedic? But there are some subtle, dark comedy in the show, especially at the very end, too, with the truck driver, like, doing circles. It's like, bro, just get in and drive. Get in and drive, but you don't do that. Anywho, so what's positive about the film is the chaoticness. I mean, you feel the chaos. You feel the tension. You just feel the nitty-gritty of this film. And there are two very good scares. I'm not going to call them jump scares, but there are just two, like, oh shit moments that do occur, and you're just like, that's good. That's really good scares right there. Like I said, I remember watching it the second time and just thinking, like, why do people love this movie so much? Watching it the second time, I could still see, like, oh yeah, it's a good movie, but it's still one of those things where it's like, there's still really issues I have with this movie, especially like Franklin's character. You got just some of the dialogue. Just the story itself kind of makes no sense about how these teenagers want to go to an old grandpa's house. Like that's it. There's nothing like, yes, there is some backstory about, Franklin and the sister of like the slaughterhouses and things like that, but it's just an odd story, if you want to put it that way. Yes, I've heard that Tobe Hopper, he just wanted to make a movie about, like, something was bothering him and he saw a chainsaw and he had the idea, like, oh, come up in his brain. So who knows how true that actual story is. So since I watched it, the 50th anniversary edition that had 4K upgrades, it's a good upgrade, I do think. The upgrade's not going to be the greatest just because how it was filmed, had a $160,000 budget, and they can do it. They can. And plus, a lot of the movies in the dark too, so you gotta look for those film negatives and if it actually can work. It's the sound design, though. The sound design, the screams, the score, the sound effects, absolutely fantastic in this film. And I really did dig it because it was booming in this theater. Also, is this weird too about the gore? Because I remember watching the first time and how in the beginning it's like the pew, a pew, and you see the fingernails, you see the rotting flesh of these corpses. But it's kind of weird that they show that in the first, like, 10 minutes and you think it's going to, happen again. It doesn't happen again. It's like those first 15 minutes and then it goes to a completely different story. Yes, I understand the reason to do that is also bring these teenagers to see if a grave has been, corpse-sized. That's really not the right word. If there is grave diggers and this grandpa's body is gone as well. So, yes, it's not just visiting the house, also visiting the grave site. But it's just still, like, kind of a weak part at that point because it's thinking, like, if there's this many grave robbers and you know what's going to happen to these body parts, that, something about it is how that was filmed doesn't really correlate or connect to the rest of the story, just in my opinion. Just in my opinion. So overall, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a chaotic film. Each time I watch it, it gives me a headache because of the screams. She must have lost her voice so many times. Yes, I understand it's supposed to be the chaos. It's supposed to be just in your face, what the fuck moments, the eyeball stuff, just like, because it's not really a gory film, but the tension and terror is there, and people just get knocked off one by one by one by one. And I could say the audience, I think, liked it. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 70%. Let's see what the critics and news scores gave this one. So we have critics at 83% with 83 of them. Audience score 82% with over 100,000. Critic consensus. Thanks to a smart script and a documentary-style camera work, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre achieves start-to-finish suspense, making it a classic and low-budget exploitation cinema. And yeah, if you have nowhere to go, just jump out the window. 83, 82, 70. Cheese like here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope everyone thinks Futontopia. You Blue Futonians, take a watch for great. I don't care if you watch today, tomorrow, week, from a month, and a year from every single freaking one of you. And would you be able to jump out of a window? I think you could if you really needed to. Just go fast. Don't like, you gotta commit. You got to freaking commit.